So Theo asked us to finish 5 minutes early, so I'm going to start. First of all, hello and welcome to my presentation about just this. Hello and welcome. Thank you for coming to my presentation about implementing certificate-based authentication for HCL travel access. For those who don't know me, my name is Matejic, Milan. I had my first contact with nodes in year 2012, and that's when I just got this book. I didn't know what the software was doing, so I got for working nodes and domino administrators, and I loved it. From that moment, I was working with the whole collaboration portfolio. Now, belonging to HCL, I also know a thing or two about test center, managing clients, Linux clients, and VM migrations. I work and live in Vienna, but I was born and raised in Serbia, and this is the frequent route I will take when I'm going to holidays. It's a small village, and this is how my front yard looks there. This is my favorite fishing spot, for those who like fishing. Okay, but enough of me. My employer is Axians ICT Austria. We are based in Vienna. I have about 400 colleagues, and we are very passionate about these 6 areas: AI and analytics, cloud and data center, logistic application, digital workspace. We will know a lot about SAP and cybersecurity, which we are going to talk about in this session. Let me just guide you real quick to the table of contents. Guys, am I easy to hear? Back or? Yeah. Okay. Give everyone time to settle. So we are going to talk first why the certificate-based authentication is interesting, then how it basically works. I think there's one more guy coming.
Keeps going.
Yeah. We will talk how certificate-based authentication works. What do we need to implement it, and then the implementation. I will give you a brief demo how it looks, what's the process behind it. Then I'm going to give you my thoughts for production use, if you would like to use this in production. We're going to talk about some issues, and then I'm going to list you my sources, and we are going then to the questions. But if we make it till the end, I have prepared a bonus slide, bonus round, and if anyone of you answers my question correctly, or if nobody answers, then I will give some goodies to the person who asked the best question. So, let's start. Why is this interesting? Well, at many customer sites, and also my company, we are using many services. And most of the time, we need to enter different passwords. Single sign-on is not correct. Deep down, we are all lazy users, and we tend to make life simple for us. And we tend to use simple and short passwords if the password policy would allow that. So that's something which we should try to solve. Like I said, bad passwords. It's close to single sign-on. The user just needs to log in once per device. And it's comfort, not only for users, but for us as admins. If it works once, then it works really well, and there are less frequent helpdesk calls about changing passwords and yada yada. It's also mutual authentication thing. That means that the user is not only authenticating to the server, but the server is also authenticating for the user, basically, because the user is not able to authenticate on the wrong server. And many of our customers are using mobile device management and Windows certificate-based authorities, and in one place or another they're using certificate-based authentication, and they're asking for the same thing for travel. This is one more good example of password management. So, but how does it actually work? We need a certificate authority. Either we can create one for testing purposes with OpenSSL or top certificate, and then we need user certificates. When we say certificate-based authentication and CA user certificates, many people think that's really a complex thing, but that's not really the case. Just think about your driving license. You are getting your driving license from the state. That's basically a CA in that case. Your driving license has your first name and last name on it, and an ID number. So the policeman can basically authenticate you if you have drunk too much. We also have device certificates, but we're not going to talk a lot about it. We could theoretically use that also for travel, but they're basically the same. And like I said, the authentication confirms the authenticity and identity of both parties. So let's go through that step by step. So for HCL verse application, we would roll out the certificate to the user's device with the private key, and that would be an encrypted file or encrypted database where the user needs to enter the password once. After he's entered the password, it will be imported to the device, and then the user can use it for many applications. So the user would do that once, then download the HCL verse application and try to access the HCL verse server. If that doesn't, the HCL server would ask the user then to select the certificate. What then happens, the device takes a random portion of data and encrypts it with the private key. That becomes a digital signature. The device therefore sends the digital signature and the part of the certificate to the server. Just keep in mind everything is happening over an SSL connection, so we need that. The server gets the data, encrypts the digital signature with the public portion of the user certificates, and therefore verifies the user and authorizes him to access the data if the user has correct access, of course. In this case, we would do this on a mail file. So what do we need for that? We need a traveler server, like I said, with an SSL connection implemented, HTTPS, because it wouldn't work otherwise. We need a basic knowledge about certificates, which you now have, hopefully. OpenSSL or already installed certificate authority. Key2 or key store, I will talk about that later on. KYR2, I never managed to pronounce this correctly. Then we need an access to the domino directory, administrative access, and an Android device. So let's start with implementation. First we need to create a CA certificate and a user certificate. Then we need to import it to the Domino server, and think about it like that. Think about every certificate store that we have on Domino. That is basically everywhere we need to import it. So to the Domino directory, the keyring file, and Java C asserts file or database. It's really important. Then we will import the user certificate into the person document and push the user certificate to the mobile device. Afterwards, we will switch to the certificate-based authentication and test it all out. So let's start by creating CA certificate and user certificate. You may for testing, I used OpenSSL, but like I said, if you have existing certificate authority, you could use that. There is most of you have worked with OpenSSL. There are quite a few commands you need to know in order to do that, or to use Google frequently. But there is in an Domino AppDev package, there's a file which is called make-certs.cmd. That file was basically created to have people install and test the Proton task. And if you, like I said, don't know what OpenSSL commands, you can use that. I just download the AppDev package and open this file, edited it a bit, and yeah, you can create certificates really fast. Just keep in mind, you still need OpenSSL in place in order that this file to work. Like I said, there are just a few lines that you need to change. The subject name of your CA certificate and the subject name of your user certificate. So, then we will import the certificate into the Domino directory. This is done via nodes or an administrator client. Just go to the correct place in the Domino directory and hit actions, import internal certificates. And if everything is done correctly, you will see your CA certificate in the internal certificates. Then we will do the same for the person document. Basically the same action, just open first the person document, where you would like to import the certificate, and do the same. Select the file, and here we go, we will see it in the person document. You could also use the Proton task in the AppDev package. This may be interesting if you want to automate this thing. You may want to automate it, and this could be a way, one of the ways to do it. So the easy stuff is done. Now we need to import the certificate in the keyring file. This is pretty well documented. It's the same command like every time you create a keyring file and import the root certificate. Just keep in mind to use the existing keyring file, make a backup, and import your new CA certificate inside. Like I said, this is pretty well documented, so we won't talk in details about it. What I also would like to say, do this on a client, please. You can run this tool on your client, make a backup, copy it to your client, do your changes, and push it later on to the server and restart. We need to do the same for the Java CA-certs file. Keep in mind, we need to know the password, of course, because the file is encrypted. The default password is changed. I don't know if Oracle or HCL or anybody wants to say something with that.
Ask IBM.
Ask IBM, okay. It is in a Domino program directory, and JVM lead security. And there are many ways to do this, but you can use the Keto, which is inside of the Java installation. It's also quite a complex command, so I tend to use the Key Store Explorer. That's a free tool. I have a link at the end. Just download that, and you could use. I'm sorry if I think that this way. Yeah. You can. Yeah.
Just one notice. In V11, Keto is not a memory.
Yeah. So in V11, the full Java key representation. You need to use OpenSSL.
Okay. Thank you.
You can keep it from a version 10 install or
Okay.
download it from somewhere else.
Okay.
It's not bundled once anymore.
Oh, okay. Didn't know that. But thank you. I like to use Key Store Explorer. Like I said, just install it, import the file, and you can add the certificates per drag and drop. It's really easy. Again, don't do this on a server, do this on a client. After we can download this, we can push the certificate to the mobile device. We need a P12 file for that because Android devices tend to use P12 files. And again, I used the Key Store Explorer. Just hit new, create a new P12 file, and import the certificate by drag and drop. Keep in mind, we also need private key, as a CA, a personal certificate, and the private key, because, like I said, the client needs to create a digital signature to send it to the server. To push it to the mobile device, we can use the mobile device management, which is not part of Domino, by the way, we all know that. And I used email for testing. We could do that for testing purposes. Afterwards, we can just switch to security, in website settings under security, we can switch to client certificate and deactivate the name and password. Restart the server, and basically that's it. If you change the CL certs file, the keying file and everything, restart the server and the changes are going live, so you can basically authenticate. But don't go ahead and try it right away with the mobile device. First use your browser on a client, verify that the basic functionality is there. And then you could try it out on a mobile device. So this is a brief demo how it works, what the user sees. Done on an Android client, tablet. Basically the application is downloaded, we accept we need, enter the server address, nothing fancy over there. And the server asks us to choose a certificate. So we've chosen the certificate, the user is authenticated. Now we should be able to access our email. You have seen the step where we need to choose a certificate. The official documentation says that actually Android Enterprise, or which was Android for Work, had the functionality to set a certificate for an application. Like in this case, you maybe could roll the settings out like that the user doesn't have to choose the certificate. So just open the IBM application and he would authenticate. Right. You probably have seen that we could basically enable name and password and client certificate. We have to take a look at that because that was really interesting. We thought, yeah, we could basically have a multi-factor authentication. So we tried that out, but it turns out that it doesn't work like that. That way, like we imagined. What you need, if you do that, then when a user accesses the Traveler server, then he can either enter his username and a password or a certificate. So either one of that, which works, and the user has access. But they created a product idea to create an additional authentication option for a sort of multi-factor authentication that you need both. If you would like that, just go and vote to the official portal. You can access it via link or just search the idea number. Right. Some general thoughts for production use. As you have seen, there are quite a few manual steps that we need to do. The importing of the user certificates is the main thing to get them inside of the Domino directory. If you have more than 500 users, you don't want to sit for months and do this manually, so we need to think about automation. creation of the certificates is not that hard. If you're using Windows CA, you would already have it. We need to automate the import, the rollout, and the renewal process. So that's the key thing about it, and the hardest thing actually to do. This is not the part of the presentation. If you would need help about it, please contact us. We are guiding here for you to help. So, sorry, I'm going to go next to some issues. You have seen that I was always stating that we need Android devices. The first issue is it doesn't work with iOS. That's the main reason we tried it. The app just doesn't have that functionality. But many of our customers will love that, so there is a product idea for that. We voted for it, it's likely to be implemented. So if you would also like to have that, please go and vote so that we may get it. There is also no automated way for importing user certificates in Domino provided by HCL. So we need to develop that on our own. We are also dependent on mobile device management. Sorry. These are our sources. I use the official documentation, which is really unclear. So read about that, but there's not many information. The Proton task and the file for creation of the certificates is inside of the app dev package. And I also used some other articles. So any questions? Yes?
The user leaves the company and you don't delete the user from the Domino directory. You only put it into the no access group of the server. The certificate is still valid. Can the user still authenticate?
But also says that we send so cannot.
But you could also, like I said, if you could create an basic action only if you want to disable an access for the user on a traveler server or via web. just delete the certificate from the person. Question. Any other questions? We have a little bit of time. Okay. Is there anything? Yeah.
Do you have experience with ATFS solution when user certificates issued by terminal queue Active Directory?
Issued by Active Directory. Actually, yes, we were thinking about that, and we wanted to develop our own solution for that, but we never had, like I said, customers who wanted that. Didn't work with an iOS app, but it shouldn't be really hard because you could use PowerShell at the end and AutoScript to import certificates, so that shouldn't be an issue. Any more? Okay. Well, then welcome to the bonus round. We still have 5 minutes left. So, almost everybody remembers Paul Mooney. Is correct? Yeah. Paul Mooney once said that he is going to sacrifice a certain animal for every server ID which doesn't have a password set. Which animal is this? Is anybody?
I reviewed your slides.
Okay, then the goodies are going to go to the best questioners. So, Paul said to protect your server IDs with a password. Paul is still killing puppies. So, for every unprotected server ID. So please protect your server IDs with passwords, so Paul won't kill any puppies. Okay, Patrick, will you go out a little? Thank you. try to be quick because Theo asked me to finish early. So we're on time. Please, go have your beer.